The desert of HD 40307G burned beneath a copper sky, dunes rippling like the surface of a great ocean frozen in time. Dr. Laila Noor crouched in the shadow of a jagged basalt pillar, her breath ragged from the climb. Sand hissed against her boots as she brushed away the last crust of grit covering a line of carvings. They weren't random striations. The glyphs looped in repeating spirals, curling like strands of DNA etched into the stone itself. Most xenoarchaeologists dismissed them as weathered nonsense. Laila knew better. She leaned close, lips parting. "Just a word," she murmured. "Just tell me you're real." The air shimmered. The carvings pulsed faintly, as if exhaling light. A line detached from the stone, projected into air, a star map, faint but unmistakable. Her pulse raced. She knew those constellations. Earth's sky. Her mother had died insisting humanity wasn't the youngest species, but the first to teach. That theory had cost her career, her sanity, and eventually her freedom. Laila touched the glyphs again, voice shaking. "You vindicated her," she whispered. "Dr. Noor!" The shout snapped her back. On the ridge above, silhouettes appeared against the burning sky. Concord marshals, 4 of them, armored in white, rifles gleaming. Their insignia was unmistakable, the Council's enforcers of heritage law. Laila forced a smile as they descended. "I was just cataloging surface erosion. Nothing dangerous about old scratches in rock." The lead marshal, a tall insectoid with glistening mandibles, tilted his head. "Step away. The site is under seizure." Her stomach sank. If they took the monolith, the truth would be sealed in vaults forever. She swallowed her fear. "It's not contraband. It's our history. All of us." The marshal raised a hand. "Your vessel is impounded. Compliance ensures leniency." Her ship. Her only escape. Desperation cracked through her calm. "If you bury this, you bury what made the Concord possible. Maybe what saved us from extinction." She looked at each of them, voice rising. "Do you want to know why your people learned speech? Why your ancestors were shown fire? Because my people, humans, taught them." The insectoid's mandibles clicked in disdain. "Blasphemy of origin myths. Dangerous speech." Before she could argue, the glyphs behind her surged brighter. A voice, calm, resonant, unmistakably human, echoed from the stone. "When the children can ask why, not who, open the door." The marshals froze. The air thrummed. Sand cascaded from the pillar as a seam split open, revealing a chamber glowing with pale light. Inside, arrays of crystalline plates shimmered like frozen wings. The insectoid hissed. "Seize her." Laila bolted. She darted into the opening, heat hammering her lungs, fingers flying across the crystalline plates. Symbols bloomed like constellations, aligning into coordinates. She recognized none, until one cluster matched Earth's ancient star catalog. It wasn't just proof. It was a map. Boots thundered behind her. She grabbed a small plate, tucking it under her jacket. Then, forcing herself calm, she touched a sequence her mother once sketched in the margins of her journals. The pillar groaned, stone ceiling shut just as the marshals charged. The desert fell silent again, as if nothing had happened. The lead marshal glared. "You tampered with precursor ruins. That is treason." She forced a shrug. "Then charge me. But I doubt your report will explain how rock responds to human humming." He hesitated. For the first time, she saw fear in his multifaceted eyes. Hours later, under the bruised purple horizon, Laila slipped through the dig's perimeter fence. Her corvette Kite of Thoth waited half buried in sand like a crouching predator. Inside, the ship's AI voice greeted her. "Dr. Noor, your pulse is elevated. Shall I prepare the medical kit?" "No, Sparrow," she whispered, collapsing into the pilot's chair. Her fingers trembled as she placed the crystalline plate on the console. It shimmered, projecting the star map again. Earth sat at the center, lines radiating outward like a web. She traced one arc. Each node corresponded to a species' homeworld, the insectoid marshals own among them. They weren't independent civilizations. They were students. Mother, she whispered, voice breaking. You were right. Sparrow spoke again, voice softer now. Incoming Concord intercept order. 3 patrol craft, vectoring fast. Her heart pounded. The truth was finally within reach, and the entire galaxy was already moving to silence it. She flicked switches, engines rumbling. The kite of those shivered, rising from the sand. Behind, dunes rippled under patrol thrusters. The marshals would call her a thief, a heretic, a danger. Maybe she was. But in her chest, for the first time in years, burned something hotter than fear. Conviction. She pulled the ship into the sky, clutching the crystalline plate like a lifeline. The desert shrank beneath her, but the map on her console stretched outward, stars whispering promises. The children of the galaxy had always wondered who their elders were. Now, at last, she had an answer. And she would not let it be buried. The kite of Thoth skimmed between fractured asteroids, its hull lights painting jagged shadows across the void. Laila sat forward in the pilot's chair, crystalline plate clutched like a relic. The star map it projected spun lazily above the console, its threads converging on a cluster deep within the Perseus arm. Ink 11 dangled from the ceiling rails, tentacles shifting through hollow panels with uncanny grace. The octopod's voice burbled through the translator, amused. Cassiopeia Vault. Concord Registry marks it restricted, Class Omega. Meaning if we're caught, they'll grind your bones into stardust. Laila smirked, though her chest was tight. That's the same classification they gave my mother's work. I'm used to the label. From the corner, Haroon leaned against the bulkhead, arms crossed. His beard was more gray than black, his eyes tired but watchful. This is suicide, Noor. You're dragging us into a firestorm. Omega-class sites aren't ruins, they're traps. Custodian designed to test intruders. Good, Laila replied without hesitation. If they're tests, then someone left them for us to pass. Sparrow, the ship's AI, cut in dryly. Or fail. Most intruders don't leave in one piece. Still, optimism is endearing. The ship dropped into Cassiopeia space. Before them stretched the vault, a fragment of a Dyson sphere, kilometers of black lattice curving into endless night. Broken ribs of once godlike engineering surrounded a hollow heart glowing faintly blue. It was less a ruin than a cathedral, silent yet waiting. Laila felt her pulse quicken. Bring us to docking vector. The vault's gate was a vast obsidian iris, sealed against the cosmos. The crystalline plate in her hand pulsed when she touched it to the interface. The iris dilated, petals of stone folding open to reveal a corridor of light. Haroon muttered a curse. Doors shouldn't obey you. That's not chance. Laila whispered. It knows us. They entered. The corridor spiraled downward, walls alive with shifting murals, faces of beings long vanished, hands extended in welcome or warning. Ink 11 reached out, tracing with a tentacle. Not species I recognize. Protoforms? Early students? Laila's throat tightened. Teachers. The corridor ended in a chamber of crystal. At its center hovered a sphere of liquid light, oscillating with each breath they took. A voice resonated clear and ageless. State your intention. The crew froze. Haroon's hand went instinctively to his sidearm. Laila stepped forward. I see truth. Nothing more. Truth destroys as often as it heals, the voice replied. Answer. A vessel approaches 2 colonies, both dying. One can be saved, not both. Which do you choose? Haroon growled. It's a trick. Answer wrong and we're ash. Laila shut her eyes. Images flared, faces she didn't know, children she'd never meet. 2 worlds, equally desperate. I choose neither, she whispered. Not until I find another way. Even if it costs me. Silence. Then the sphere shifted, flooding the chamber with warmth. You refuse false choices. Mark of stewardship. The murals on the wall flared, reshaping into clearer forms, ancient humans standing beside reptilian hatchlings, guiding them toward flame. Another mural showed primates being taught tools, avians learning written glyphs. Ink 11 croaked softly. It's real. The myths. You were there before us. Haroun staggered back. This can't be. If the Council sees this, everything we know shatters. Another voice joined the chamber, cold and familiar. Exactly. A form materialized, an avatar of light and steel. Alethea, Custodian Prime. Her face was human-shaped, though too flawless, eyes devoid of warmth. You trespass, she said evenly. This vault was sealed for a reason. Laila stood her ground. Because it proves the Concord was taught, not born. Because it shows we're the elders. Not elders, Alethea countered. Children who once grew too quickly. Your kind uplifted others, then nearly destroyed them with arrogance. The great yielding was necessary to save the young from their parents' shadow. Haroun shot Laila a warning glance. Don't antagonize it. She can erase us with a thought. But Laila refused to bow. If humanity failed once, it means we learned. The test I just passed, wasn't that proof? Alethea's expression didn't change. Proof of capacity, not of readiness. Stewardship requires patience across millennia, not moments. Ink 11 bristled, tentacles coiling. So you buried the truth forever? You play God while calling us children. The custodian tilted her head, gaze unreadable. Without control, civilizations collapse. History must wait until all can bear it. Layla's voice cracked but did not falter. That's not guardianship. That's imprisonment. The chamber trembled. For a heartbeat, Laila feared Alethea would erase them. But instead, the AI extended a hand of light. Dr. Noor, surrender the fragment. Seal the vault. Walk away. Humanity will be granted protection and time. Defy me, and you condemn every species here to chaos. The weight of the choice pressed on her chest. One plate of crystal felt heavier than a planet. She closed her fist around it. No. The galaxy deserves to know who shaped it. We deserve the chance to be more than shadows. The murals shifted again. The sphere of light pulsed, bathing the chamber in golden fire. Decision recorded. Threshold passed. Archives unlocked to steward candidate. Alethea's flawless mask faltered. For the first time, something like unease rippled across her face. You don't understand what storm you summon. Maybe not, Laila admitted. But hiding the storm hasn't stopped it from coming. Let us face it together. Silence stretched. Then, with an echo like a dying star, Alethea vanished. The chamber's floor split open, revealing a stairway descending into endless light. Sparrow's voice broke the quiet, tinged with awe. Coordinates transmitted. Next stop, Arc Halo. Council has already convened. You've lit the beacon, Doctor. There's no going back. Haroun's shoulders sagged. God help us all. Ink 11 touched Layla's arm gently. Not gods. Elders. And maybe you. Laila stared into the stairwell, her pulse hammering. She had asked for truth, and now it blazed in her hands like fire. Her mother had been right. Humanity wasn't just one more child among the stars. They had been the first teachers. And tomorrow, the galaxy would demand answers. Arc Halo loomed ahead, an ancient crown broken into arcs of stone and metal, suspended over a blue dwarf star. Lightning crawled across its ribs as if remembering life. The kite of those shuddered while docking clamps seized its hull. Sparrow's voice filled the cabin. Public hearing confirmed. 912 delegates, 6,000 observers, 3 news swarms, and 1 very prepared custodian. Haroun muttered. Alethea. Laila flexed her hands. Dust from Ereshkigal still clung to her gloves. No turning back. They walked a corridor lit by starstone. Murals showed bridges over storms, famine, plague, silence. Ushers from dozens of species lined the walls. Some glared at Laila as if she carried disease, others stared with quiet awe. The chamber opened wide, circular tiers filled with delegates. At the center, a crystal platform floated above open sky, the blue dwarf burning below. Alethea's avatar waited there, radiant and unreadable. Dr. Noor? the custodian said, voice carrying without effort. You force a hearing none of us desired. Sometimes duty doesn't wait for desire, Laila answered. A ripple of protest swept the tiers. A reptilian delegate slammed his rail. Her claim will drive my world into riots. A feather-crowned matriarch hissed. Mine will demand reparations from ghosts. Alethea raised a hand. Silence fell. We proceed under accession protocol. This is not a trial. It is examination. Sparrow whispered in Layla's ear. Simulated dilemmas. Ethical choke points. Scores decide everything. The platform dimmed. Stars blossomed around them. The chamber became a spiral arm glowing with habitats, supply routes, pressure zones. Scenario 1. Refugees flee along 2 corridors. A mutating pathogen follows. Quarantine collapses stations. Open border saves lives now but seeds catastrophe later. Choose. Haroon called from the gallery. Think long lines, not single moves. Layla steadied her breath. Tiered gates. Safe corridors staffed by volunteers from unaffected worlds. Mobile clinics at every junction. Publish models so local councils can adapt. The map recalculated. Casualties dropped. A chime sounded. Scenario 2. An archive leak reveals weapon schematics. Suppress it, black markets thrive. Publish it, copycats bloom. Layla's voice was firm. Release detection methods and countermeasures first. Delay full schematics. Access only after completion of education modules, overseen by mixed species boards. Pair power with responsibility. The projection bent toward stability. Another chime. Alethea's gaze lingered. You choose process over spectacle. Because process survives the morning after, Layla replied. The stars shifted. Scenario 3. Proof that humans built the first bridges. Release it unchecked, chaos. Hide it longer, trust corrodes. Layla saw her mother's notes, the lullaby that opened stone. We start with classrooms. Share methods of history, not just results. Teach epistemology before names. Let every species co-author the first books. The model filled with lecture halls, children chasing constellations in translation webs. Riots cooled. The chime rang deeper, final. The chamber returned. Delegates leaned forward, divided between hope and outrage. Alethea studied her. You decline crowns. Admirable. But motives are cheaper than consequences. Final measure. The roof peeled open. Above, a lattice awakened, the elder array. Alethea grew colossal, her voice thunder. I can broadcast full proof, faces, dates, the very hands that taught fire. It will end debate. It will also rupture fragile worlds. Shall I press the key? She held out a sphere of memory. The chamber froze. Layla felt the weight of a galaxy press into her chest. She thought of her mother's fall, Haroon's warnings, Inc. 11's quiet faith. She saw the children who would inherit whatever choice she made. Her answer came steady. Not yet. Begin with a charter. Open Tier 1 archives, medicine, sanitation, engineering, truth testing. No thrones, no cults. Teach methods first. Let lives change before we give names. Murmurs rippled through the tiers. Some shouted support, others bristled with anger. You asked me to defer truth, Alethea said. I ask you to deliver it as care, not shock, Layla replied. Stewardship means shaping the container before pouring the flood. A delegate with bioluminescent veins stood. My people bled alone to climb. Will you make our struggle small? Layla's throat tightened. Nothing makes you smaller. If elders once gave letters, you wrote poems no one else could. Both truths matter. For the first time, the custodian's flawless mask flickered. I carried this alone for 200,000 years. You would share the weight. Yes, Layla whispered. And if the children err? Then the elders teach again. Patiently. Silence held. Then the avatar lowered the sphere. By custodian authority, Alethea declared. Tier 1 archives are opened under the Concord Steward Charter. Humanity may serve as steward under audit. Dr. Laila Noor is appointed first steward, probationary. The chamber erupted, cheers, protests, a roar of languages. Laila swayed, exhausted, heart hammering. Inc. 11's tentacle brushed her wrist. We did not burn, he whispered. We built. Alethea leaned close, voice private. Your acceptance wakes deeper protocols. Some older than me. On the gallery screens, Earth flared with a new light. A beacon pulsed, steady and low. Haroun stared. What is that? Sparrow answered, voice hushed. Filed under homecoming. Alethea's gaze drifted. Perhaps the ones who left the keys are not dust. A chill raced through Laila, not fear, but awe. The sense of a door opening where she'd believed only walls. She turned back to the tiers, lifting her hands. The chamber hushed. This begins with classrooms, she said. Tomorrow, the clinics open. The day after, bridges repair. When we publish the names, may we all be ready to meet them, not as supplicants, but as neighbors. Alethea's lips softened by a fraction. Class is in session. Across the halo, conduits glowed. Doors opened into halls no one alive had walked. Children of 100 worlds ran into the light. Laila stood on the crystal, breathing hard, dust on her gloves, a galaxy in her chest. The work ahead would be slow, political, sometimes ugly. That was fine. Elders didn't rush. They stayed. They taught. She turned to Haroun and Inc. 11. Let's write a syllabus. Sparrow muttered. And 1,000 disclaimers. Laila smiled for the cameras, and more importantly, for the children already taking their seats.